Welcome back to Clean for Profit. We're just here on a quiet weekend evening, and I just wanted to share some thoughts that I had with you. In the last handful of months, growing the company so quickly has been a huge blessing, but it's also exposed a lot of weak points in both in my business, in my prioritization of my schedule, which is what we're going to talk about a little today. Um, how I look at people and training, and most importantly, related to what I just mentioned is the importance of rest. It's kind of cliche, I guess, to say that rest is important, but it's not. I viewed rest for the longest time as like kind of a reward for getting work done. So it's like you do work and then you rest. And I think, as I get older and busier, I've just realized it's more the opposite than anything else. It's like we rest so that we can work. We don't work so we can rest. Um, and because of that, the busiest seasons are when rest matters the most. It seems ironic because you're supposed to be working the most, and you probably are. But also, the quality of your rest has to be as high as it possibly can, especially in the busy season when it might be as scarce as it is. Um, you know, I have children and a wife, um, and my family needs me. Family needs my presence, not just my productivity. So that's a big thing for me. So the first point, I have 3 points, um, and three things to pay attention to is like prioritizing rest. We rest so that we can work. We don't work so that we can rest. In my case, I have a family that I'm raising and stewarding that needs my presence, not just my physical and financial productivity. And rest is really trust in a way that your life isn't going to collapse when you step away. And if your business is so fragile that you can't continue operations over the weekend without your presence, or you can't close for the weekend without it being a major problem, then your work, your business has become a bit of an idol to you, and it's taken more of your time and attention than is healthy. So prioritizing rest is super important, and prioritizing high quality rest, which kind of speaks to a point where I'm at right now. The second point is finding rest in the middle of chaos. So there's lots of times, especially in busy seasons, and especially when you have other major priorities where life doesn't allow ideal rest. You can't take all day off and just chill out. There's stuff that needs to be done around the house, even on weekends. Ideally, there's time to do some kind of a formal Sabbath in some way where you abstain from work altogether, and just have that space for true rest. But even that doesn't always happen, and so being able to find restful moments and states of mind when you're running a business is becoming more and more important to me, which, like I said, being able to step away and have a longer break and a true rest that elapses for a little bit in time. I'm looking for that ideally, but when you can't find that, finding restful moments, um, silence or reading in your car. For me, prayer is a big part of my life. So being able to do that, stepping outside, taking a walk for 5 minutes, and even when you're busy or working, kind of doing meditative exercises where you're able to be fully present, instead of worrying about what yesterday brought or what tomorrow might bring. I think the biggest thing that I do in during my weekends, this is the first time in probably 6 or 7 years that I've consistently committed to taking weekends off, Saturdays and Sundays. And it's been really rewarded, um, both in terms of like just prioritizing rest has really gotten me from a place where I feel constantly overwhelmed to a point where, rest is non-negotiable for me now. And by the time Sunday evening arrives, I'm ready for Monday to come, because I'm ready to sprint again. Um, but yeah, being able to be fully present and not carrying tomorrow before it arrives, I think that's been the hardest part for me. Is on Sundays over anticipating what Monday might bring, when it's like Monday is going to worry about itself when it gets there. Obviously, there's things that I have to that I have to push and make sure are organized. I could probably do a better job at doing that on Fridays, so that Monday is ready when it gets there. Um, but not, not creating anxiety and a mental load that creates exhaustion before the work even starts has been something that I've been learning to do better and better. Um, and the last thing I would say, like the biggest thing for me, I don't have the actual brick with me, but I got the box that it came in, is literally protecting your time and your mind. I like gaming. I haven't been gaming as much recently. I've been doing a lot more reading lately. But the one thing that I do not like doing that is super accessible all the time is doom scrolling. Um, just getting lost down endless YouTube rabbit holes. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of it on on the weekend. It's Sunday evening right now, and I have some reading to do. I'm for sure going to do that. It's 8. I'll probably do some reading for like an hour, but to be totally honest with you, before that, I'll probably unlock my phone. But anyway, and engage in my first doom scrolling of the weekend, because my phone's been locked all week, not just on screen time lock, but I got this product called Brick. It's not sponsored or anything, but this thing is like a what is it called? NFC chip, something like that, where it's like a little brick. It's like just a little gray box looking thing, basically. We have it on a magnet on the side of our fridge, and it locks your phone like how screen time does, like on an iPhone. Except you can't unlock it until you go physically to the app, open the app, click unbrick, and then tap your phone against the physical piece of hardware. So we were actually at a wedding this weekend, and fortunately, I have all of the essential apps unlocked, so you can select which apps are locked or unlocked. But I forgot that I didn't set it to like not brick for the weekend, and it was awesome. I woke up Saturday, and apps like YouTube. I don't have Insta. Yeah, actually, I do have Instagram. I'm never on it, but Instagram, Facebook Messenger, places where it's not really that important for me to have access to. Oh, and all my business apps get locked as well. So I'm like locked out of my business during the weekends. And it's great because all notifications are blocked. It doesn't give you an option until you physically go unlock it. So that's been awesome. It's given me scheduled lockouts where I'm not able to access work-related apps, because that's what happens, man. That's what happens during the weekend, is that I will introduce a little bit of work. Like I'll get a text and I will read it. And sometimes I'll even respond to it. And it's like, where's the line? Because as soon as I engage in that, my mind kind of shifts out of a restful state into a state of trying to be as productive as possible. And then I think of people that I haven't followed up with, and I'm like, I should make like 2 quick calls. And then I do, and I close $1,500 worth of work that I did estimates for but never closed. And it's like the cycle just goes on and on with work that you could be doing all the time that would be justified if you did it, and people would applaud you for doing it. But ultimately, long term, it's just robbing you of energy that you need to go kick ass during the week. Um, so, yeah, I mean, the brick specifically has been super helpful in giving me non-negotiable boundaries, and just removing a lot of pseudo rest from my weekend, where it's like my average screen time per day is like maybe 25 minutes on the weekends. Um, so that's been incredibly helpful. I'm a man of faith. I'm a Christian, and so I'd be remiss if I didn't say that like for me, rest in God goes beyond physical or mental recovery. And I have peace even when I'm exhausted. Um, you know, Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden or heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." And I do think that spiritual rest carries me when my physical rest or psychological rest is limited. Um, so I have that faith element as well, that I would encourage uh, my friends, family, anybody listening to look into. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to kind of like go over that, like the importance of prioritizing rest, finding rest in the middle of chaos, and protecting your mind, like your physical, psychological boundaries when it comes to your phone and your spirit, so that ultimately, no matter what's going on, you do have that rest. So it's incredibly important. It's been a theme of my life for a while, not only because I've started prioritizing it recently, but because I didn't prioritize it for a really long time. And it showed in my lack of patience, in my inability to think deeply like I used to, and just in my, I don't know, in the way that my mind was organized, basically. Like I feel more at peace and organized when I'm prioritizing rest. And so, there's a lot of tactics and strategies to growing a cleaning business or any business, that are really brass tacks. And I'm not sure. I know we're going to get into that in some following episodes. But ultimately, those tactics are completely useless if you're not in good health. And along with diet and making sure that you are exercising, which isn't all that hard when you're in this business, is incredibly important. So I just thought I would go over that. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you guys being here. We're 25 episodes in or something like that now. These are still very much so the early days. I plan for this podcast to be a couple hundred episodes long. We'll see what happens, but I'm aiming for consistency, and I've been able to kind of live up to that so far. Thanks to you, because a lot of you have been reaching out, and thanks to Dave, who's been such a regular guest of mine that I just really appreciate. And so, anyways, I wanted to bring this word to you guys. I hope you guys are having this will publish on Monday, so I hope that you're having a great start to your week, and that you got plenty of rest this last weekend or last couple of days that you took off, whenever that is. And if you didn't, I hope this gave you kind of something worth trying, because I really believe that if you employ rest systematically into your life and prioritize it, which you have to prioritize it because it'll just get stolen away from you if it's not a priority. I have faith that if you prioritize it, things will pan out very well for you and you'll feel better doing it. So thanks so much for listening. We'll see you in the next one.